All of them, because they came with their wives, with the best dresses, you know, the sort of thing one goes for inauguration.
You said India must trust us. Now, why should Mrs. Gandhi trust a man like yourself who so often preached a 1,000-year war against India?
Well, finally, it will have to boil down to a question of trust, whether it's me or anyone else. And today I happen to be the elected president of Pakistan, and she'll have to deal with an elected leader. And I represent the wishes and the feelings of the people of Pakistan. The whole world knows that Indo-Pakistan problems have persisted for 25 years since we became independent. And there will have to be mutual trust and confidence. On our part, we are prepared to give that trust. And India will also have to take the same position if they want a final settlement.
You don't think your priority must be to get your prisoners of war home again. You've said that, you've made that very plain. But how are you going to persuade Mrs. Gandhi that once they're home again, they're not going to push you towards confrontation once more, perhaps even to a war of revenge?
No, I don't think that anyone can push me around in a hurry. And especially our prisoners of wars, they are not an articulate political force as such. They might fan out. They don't need to fan out. There are enough people who are jingoistic as it is. But we can settle these sentiments if we make progress. And I don't want Pakistan to get the title of a revanchist state.
After the war, as soon as you took office, you did talk rather in terms, of course, of revenging a humiliation. You don't really think that pressures here in Pakistan will push you towards a confrontation again?
Not revenge in that sense. Not revenge in the sense of going to war again. Revenge, moral rehabilitation, and to let the world know that we are not inherently a people who can lose and have lost, that there were factors, that we are equals in the subcontinent, even in our reduced state. We have to show to the world and show to India by economic development, by making grand new experiments in administration, in making democracy work, and in a host of other ways to show that we are still equals in the subcontinent.
Mrs. Gandhi seems to want to use her strong bargaining position to make the new ceasefire line in Kashmir an international frontier. Now, is this something that could ever be acceptable to the people of Pakistan, let alone the people of Azad Kashmir?
Well, people of Kashmir come first, because it is their future and their faith which is involved. If the people of Kashmir have given up the ghost, if they don't have the stamina and the grit to achieve their rights, the whole world put together cannot help them to achieve their rights. Primarily, they have to be in the forefront. And we have been in the forefront for 25 years. Perhaps that's why the problem has not been resolved. So we cannot abandon a right which belongs to them. As I said to you the other night, we haven't conferred it, we cannot take it back. And I think it's really shooting the gun to go straight to Kashmir. There are so many fundamental matters to be tackled and resolved. And if India has taken that position for 25 years, let us go step by step and then finally come up to the top of the ladder called Kashmir. Why should India now reverse that historical position? Propounded by a no less a person than Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, the father of the present Prime Minister. I know I've heard that present Prime Minister says that her father was a saint and not a politician. She does great injustice to her father. He was an outstanding politician. Perhaps.
You've taken a pretty strong line on these war crimes trials that Sheikh Mujib proposes to hold in Dhaka. You've said it's a matter of principle for you, and if they're held, it'll muck everything up. Does that really mean that if anybody is tried for war crimes in Dhaka, you're going to feel it impossible to come to any settlement here on the subcontinent?
Well, I think, objectively speaking, things will become extremely difficult. And I don't think I've used any strong words or made any strong statements. A person in a weak position cannot make strong statements, and strong statements have to be followed up. And you become the prisoner of your own words. I'm not in a position today to make strong statements. I don't think I've made a strong statement. I think I've closed the windows for political settlement, political compromise. But certainly, objectively speaking, it would arouse the rawest of feelings, and it will make my task almost impossible. Really?
He thinks that he would have a little bit of parliamentary democracy at the provinces, but he wants to have his presidential form at the center. He wants to keep all the power to himself at the center, and he has agreed to surrender some powers to the provinces. And that is where our difficulty is, you see, because we feel it's a dilemma. We are having a federal parliamentary system at the provinces and a presidential at the center. That's the difficulty.
Which really allows no provincial autonomy?
None whatsoever, you see, because he's the all-powerful man. I mean, it's more or less, he's enjoying the same power that he more or less enjoyed as a chief martial law administrator. You see, all this, the power is in the center with him. I mean, he's all-powerful at the center. Although the arrangement was, precisely for this reason, we went to the 1935 Act, along with the 1947 Independence Act, because we went to that because we thought it was federal parliamentary system of government. But he didn't accept our proposals.
At this particular time, I suppose Pakistan needs all the national unity it can get. Aren't you in danger of being seen as a wrecker of what's left of the country for the sake of party or personal advantage?
No, far from it. I think it's just the other way around. We feel that it's we have been playing the game. We have, we came to an understanding with him, in spite of the fact that he had appointed his own governors in the provinces where he didn't have any representation at all.
Do you really want a united Pakistan, or do you want the sort of very real semi-independence that Sheikh Mujib wanted in the East?
No, we don't want what Sheikh Mujib wanted. You see, Sheikh Mujib's position was entirely different. He had this physical, geographical distance of about 1,200 miles, which was, of course, aggravated by that hijacking of that aeroplane, and then they suddenly realized that it was, Dhaka was from Karachi more or less the same distance as London was from Karachi. We suddenly realized that, you see. It is different in that. No, we have this geographical contiguity, and we have been more cooperative as far as the center, powers of the center goes. I mean, we have been more of that. No, we want a united Pakistan, but we want a strictly federal parliamentary system of government. And we feel that the federating units must have complete internal autonomy, provincial autonomy, by which they will be masters in their own homes.
If it did come to a showdown, why couldn't President Bhutto deal with you militarily?
Oh, military, you see, military, we feel that political solutions are never solved by military solutions. Political problems are never solved by military solutions. Then you see the way Pakistan is not in a position to do that. We know, we don't want to take advantage of it, but look, where Pakistan stands defeated. Pakistan's 100,000 people are in captivity. The economy here is totally shattered. Mr. Bhutto is confronted with the contradictions of his own politics. He can't, with the promises that he has made to the people, they are impossible to fulfill. Yet we don't want to take advantage of it politically. We would still want to sit around the table with him and discuss these problems to the satisfaction of all of us. But if a situation is forced on us, then of course there is no other alternative for us but to have to fight for our rights.
Clearly, as well as wanting to be sure that you're genuine in your search for peace, Mrs. Gandhi is going to want to assure herself that you're going to remain President of Pakistan, if that's not a rude question. How secure is your position?
No, my position as President of Pakistan does not depend on Mrs. Gandhi's goodwill, as much as my presence in the political scene did not depend on anyone's goodwill, because you know there was a time when quite a number of the great powers and the super duper powers were determined to see that I don't get back into the political arena or the political corridors of power of Pakistan. And I think without disrespect to any other leader of Asia, Africa and Latin America, I am the solitary exception who has resisted and overcome the opposition of the great powers to come back into the political arena. So my being the President of Pakistan, in my opinion, is not dependent on Mrs. Gandhi or on any of the great powers. It is dependent on the man in the street, the man in rags.
Some of your opponents, of course, would say that your support is as regional as Sheikh Mujib's support was in East Pakistan.
Regional, if Pakistan has become entirely regional, I don't think that is correct. My party is strong in all the provinces. They talk about the majority of other parties in the two smaller provinces, but really they have a majority of one or one and a half, and they keep on talking about their majority. But we are quite strong everywhere, and in any case we represent over 80% of the people in terms of a parliamentary majority. In terms of the people's majority, I think it's stronger, and I'm quite happy and content and grateful to the people throughout Pakistan for their support.
As these preliminary talks with India get underway here, what earthly reason is there why any peace settlement that emerges should be any more lasting than those that have gone before?
Well, fundamental realities have changed, and we are qualitatively in a new situation.
You don't feel that there's any more reason why they should succeed than that?
That's a very big reason.
What sort of place do you see Pakistan playing then on the subcontinent? What kind of country is it going to be in relation to others here?
Well, you see, our muscle will, our foreign muscle will be judged by our internal muscle, and for the time being, I am concentrating on really creating the internal muscle. We have great potential. I think my country can become a kind of a West Germany of Europe and Asia. And once I unleash all the forces, we bring our manpower into play in development projects, in electrification, rural health centers, I have great faith in the people of Pakistan. And I'm banking everything on their strength, on their resurgence, on their resuscitation. And you will see, if I get these 4 years or 5 years, which is my constitutional right, I am determined to change the face of Pakistan. Make it really into a part of Asia that the moment you enter Pakistan, you'll say, my God, we have entered in a country which is really pulsating, vibrant and active and vigorous.
Will you have to change the nature of the people?
That is inevitable. I think they're ready for it, but they haven't been given the right direction.
Are they ready for peace?
They're ready for peace, but they're ready to vindicate their honor, and that can be vindicated without going to arms, without going to war. Germany has vindicated her honor without going to war.
And so can you.
I am confident of that.